Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, my name is Tiara Surya Amalia and today I'm going to tell a story. The title of the story is Living Alone During a Pandemic. One day in the North Jakarta area, there was a girl named Rachel. Rachel lived only with her mother as her father had died of a heart attack when Rachel was a baby. Rachel also has an aunt who she loves very much. She often goes to her aunt's house to play and study with her aunt, until one day her aunt asked Rachel, "Rachel, when you grow up, what do you want to be?" And Rachel also answered, "I want to be successful and I also want to make my mother happy." After hearing Rachel's answer, her aunt smiled warmly at her and said, "If you want to be like that, then never give up whatever you will face in the future. And never stop learning, Rachel." Rachel nodded enthusiastically after hearing her aunt. Day by day passed. Rachel's life seemed more harmonious and very good with her aunt and her mother. Until one day, Rachel's mother ran up to Rachel and gave her the news that her aunt had died of the COVID-19 virus. Rachel hadn't visited her aunt's house for 2 days because her aunt said she was sick. However, God had other plans. He ended up taking her aunt's life quickly without saying goodbye. After the departure of her aunt, Rachel now lives only to sell with her mother in the shop. She is no longer studying for her education because her aunt, who taught her about education every day, is gone. So Rachel decided to drop out of school. Although in Rachel's heart, she really wants to continue learning and going to school so that she can achieve her dreams. After Rachel decided to drop out of school, she lives her days pretty well without an education. Sometimes Rachel would often secretly learn to repeat the school material that her aunt had taught her. But God has another plan. One day, when Rachel was arranging shopping needs for the shop that her mother had bought at the market, she entered the house and was surprised when she found her mother lying on the floor with heavy breathing while gasping for air. Rachel immediately shouted to the resident who happened to be in front of their house, "Help! Somebody help, please!" However, it was too late. Her mother had been called by God quickly. Rachel was crying and crying. She was really devastated. When the neighbors came with the doctor to see the condition of his mother, who was dead, and the doctor said Rachel's mother contracted the COVID-19 virus. Rachel's mother's body was also weak from overwork. Rachel immediately burst into tears, heard the results from the doctor. She really couldn't imagine how many things she had gone through, especially the loss of the person she loved the most. First, her aunt, then her mother. She kept wondering in her head, why so soon and why so late? She doesn't know what to do next. Her life was so shattered that she felt so desperate to give up. A month had passed. After her mother's departure, Rachel really lived her life very badly. She rarely eat or drink. Her body now looked really frail and very thin. When Rachel was about to walk to a mini market to buy groceries, she suddenly felt dizzy and had a very severe headache. Second later, Rachel's eyes began to darken and she passed out. A few hours passed. Rachel opened her eyes and found herself on a hospital bed. Rachel immediately wanted to get up from her bed because she felt very anxious and scared. However, the doctor immediately calmed her down. He turned out to have been at Rachel's bedside for a long time with a girl beside him who looked the same age as Rachel. The doctor explained how Rachel arrived at the hospital, how she was carried by the girl beside him named Surya. The doctor also explained that what caused Rachel to faint was due to lack of sleep and not taking care of her diet properly. The doctor also said that Rachel was severely depressed and wanted to know what was causing her depression. At first, Rachel didn't want to tell the doctor and Surya about the problem. But at the end, she finally explained every problem she had been through, from where her aunt had left her until her mother followed. Rachel told everything with tears in her eyes to the doctor and Surya. Surya, who heard all of Rachel's bitter evils, immediately started crying and suddenly hugged Rachel very tightly. Rachel was confused by Sophia's action towards her. She started to wonder again in her heart why people who had even just met her were crying over her. Sophia suddenly said to Rachel, "You live a very hard life, Rachel. Can I help you, please? I really want to help you. I want you to not give up on your life and your education, because I'm here, ready to help you with all my heart." Rachel said with emotion, "You have no idea how much it means to me, Sophia. Thank you very much." After that, she immediately hugged Sophia again tightly. Finally, after Rachel was allowed to go home by the doctor, Rachel started selling at the shop again with the help of Sophia. Even though the income from the shop was small, at least the income from the little shop was enough for Rachel to eat every day. And don't forget that every day, if Sophia has free time, she goes to Rachel's house to study with Rachel and teach her the materials that Rachel left behind and didn't know. Rachel would often ask Sophia if she would mind helping Rachel this far and this much. But Sophia always replied that she would never mind helping someone to be passionate about her life and never give up on or pursuing education. The end. Moral value in the story is never give up on your life and your education, because when we are still able to try again, there is no end until we stop trying. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.